know, as a point of reference, up in the nest, I posted the Finra.
I'm doing a Twitter chat that's going on live that has over 1,200 people in it today.
We have an incredible group of investigative.
And they have a couple of the attorneys on here
we call them the DD
that have been dealing with this for the last several months.
Blow by blow response to Finra's facts.
A lot of my Twitter friends here that I follow and that follow me are on here.
It's it really does reveal the disingenuousness and the inaccurate information. But it also has some incredible.
This is really a good Twitter chat. We're going to go ahead and listen to some of this. We're going to record a whole bunch of it here for you.
Yeah, Richard. So just
here we go.
I'm familiar with some case law, but not all like equities case law and stuff like that. Has a case like this really been presented up against Finra like this before, and what sort of outcomes and what's like the case law precedent?
I think this is a unique set of circumstances because there was never a set of facts where they were boxed in like they were in this particular matter.
That's Richard Hoffman. He's one of the attorneys working on this.
I don't think there's never been a matter. The information was disclosed in the FOIA response was also leaked. So there was always an exit, and again, they always would plead that they were operating within their regulatory capacity and had absolute immunity. And even if they operated negligently or fraudulently, they could assert that they were acting within the regulatory capacity.
But they also lie.
Any act that that's been disclosed relating to option of or spoliation of evidence, because there's an issue. There's an issue that has arisen. If you look at the FOIA response, it starts off in the end of 2021, and then it resumes the end of 2022.
Finra knew about this for well over a year. Is the big news flash here, guys.
There's plenty of information that exists that has not been produced. But what I don't know is what has happened to that information. Has it been disposed of? I don't know. But I think this happens to be a unique set of facts. And I think also what happens, historically, is the investors who get screwed only have so much energy and ability to take the fight. And then it kind of runs out. And the regulators' defense will be delay and to force investors kind of to fall by the wayside. And they'll deal with whatever they have to deal. If there's some people who are dissatisfied and file actions, they'll deal with those. But there's never been a community group that lasted long enough to assert a claim. And I don't think there's ever been congressional involvement to the extent in any prior case. But what I was going to say, though, is the thing that needs to occur beyond our situation is there has to be regulatory reform so that people that are working in industries that regulate capital can't go work for capital, at least for a period of time. And the reverse is true also. So capital cannot become a regulator, because that is an absolute conflict of interest, and it's impossible for people in those situations to objectively supervise those that they might have an interest. They might be working for them next week. They might have worked for them last week. It just doesn't work. And our situation is direct evidence of that.
Chet, do you mind if I bring up Mr. Alan Hensley? He is not a lawyer, but has crafted an incredible lawsuit. So I wanted to give him a chance to give his thoughts and a little bit about what his lawsuit does. So, Alan, you have the mic.
Oh, hello, guys. I'm driving. Somebody's got their mic open. Okay, there we go. So I'm driving, so I got to be brief. What I think sets me apart a little bit is the fact that I'm tying the regulators to the brokers, or the market makers, the regulators, and the brokers together, and I'm asking for them to find them civil RICO. And so by going after that, I don't believe this has been attempted before in this manner like this. If I'm successful, I think this might change the way people do things in the future. I don't know to what extent it's going to be. Like I said, I'm not an attorney, but I'm really trying to push the civil RICO aspect and to tie everybody together and to use some of our federal laws that hold them all equally responsible just for helping. And the laws are really clear. They say that they don't even have to know that they were helping as long as they did something that was illegal and it furthered the ability for them to commit fraud against us. They can all be held together as one.
Richard Hoffman is one of the attorneys who's been working on this.
And that's part of
he was speaking earlier, but my phone messed up.
RICO, so that they can't say that some guy came in at 2 a.m. and did this and they didn't know and they were sorry. So they fired him, and
there's too many people that know.
They'll pay a fine, whatever. This says that if you're the CEO or any level of like management over the company, you can be held criminally and civilly liable, and I think that's really important.
Do you think that this will have an impact if you're successful here? On like AMC and the GameStop case, the issues there as well, which seem to quite mirror to some extent what was done here, except this was more severe to the downside for a lot of the people who lost money here. Do you think that will actually have some impact?
Absolutely, I think there's going to be contagion.
I do too, because I believe that if one person can get a civil RICO case and make it stick, I think they're going to have a really big problem moving forward, and they know it. And so they're going to have to deal with the fallout when attorneys look at the case that I filed and they look at the response from the courts. They're going to know exactly what to do if I made mistakes, how to correct those, what needs to be done for them to be effective in their own cases. And so I think it's going to be really helpful, in my opinion.
Okay, awesome, thanks. Let's go over to Avid Trader. Avid Trader, welcome to the mic.
Hey, I appreciate it. I just put something quick up on in the top there, going back to a Forbes article from February of 1988. And I just want to give a big shout out again to all the OGs and GTII there. Even before I came in, they were calling the SEC every single day at 12 noon. Even bigger shout out to him. He basically got me involved with learning about securities fraud and understanding, how this system works and the mechanics behind the scenes. So, in a way, sort of showed me the ways and put me on, and I learned very quick and just became infatuated with, this whole entire process. And I think the big thing is that it's not just the past year or two, just because it's something that maybe we're new investors here and we don't know too much about what's happened 10 or 20 years ago, but this has been an issue that's been going on for so long with so many stocks and bankrupting Toys R Us and Macy's and Sears and all these retail companies. It's all the same thing. And this sense of community that we have right now with a really educated shareholder base, he says it all the time, education and proof is how you win, and the MMTL community has both, education and proof. So same thing with GTII, but I just wanted to say big shout out to those guys and Ham again. I know he's not here, but if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in this position. I say it very humbly. I've had an incredible group of individuals that are like mentors in a way that have, been there for me and supported me and really put me on game.
Real good advocate of the cause.
I really do appreciate it more than he even knows. I don't really tell him much. I should, but again, really just opened the door and lit a fire under me, and seeing his work ethic and how hard he preaches, and actually, again, to him, if it wasn't for him
soldier.
And showing me who John
Burnett all the soldiers in here
getting
tonight.
Involved with MMTLP, I would have had
all
no
the meta
idea.
warriors are in this call.
What we got? This is going to be one of the biggest lawsuits ever in history.
1,200 in this call.
So if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be in this position. I don't think I would
Dr. Stonk
had a platform the way I do now. So it's all it's all the same effort, whether it's AMC or GameStop, which I've been involved in, or MMTLP and GTI and the whole community. Everyone's fighting the same battle. And you just have to make sure that you don't let the system, you don't let the mainstream media try to
All the
fight
hard
against
hitters
each
are in here
other,
tonight.
whose movement's more more significant than the other. And I'll be honest, I even with Busy, I've said sometimes like with the MMTLP, I've almost felt the way sometimes, and I almost get caught up in the movement and the GTI over this and that, but it's all the same thing. And once you realize that it's all the same effort, all the same common goal here, that's really the big thing. So again, just shout out to him. Really appreciate everything he's done for me, everything he's done for this community. The guy is just a fucking monster. He doesn't stop. So love everyone here. Appreciate the time to speak. Let's do this thing.
Absolutely. I also want to echo those remarks. Chet, we're talking about a gentleman by the name of Ham the Short Killer, and he's been fighting this war and this corruption for over 2 decades. Yeah. And he's been incredible. Though he's not an investor in MMTLP, he has been incredibly supportive of our community and providing us expertise and support and inspiration, as well as insider information in terms of he's connected to some of the people
Speaking of Meta Warriors,
at
got
the
the Meta Warrior
level, and just been incredible support to this community. And so we want to throw some love his way, and he could also be an incredible resource for anyone here in the space tonight that wants to get more information on the pervasiveness of this predatory manipulative practice by these criminals and sociopaths. So absolutely sociopaths. So Chet, wanted to make sure that you got all your questions answered before we moved on to some other hands. And so just,
Who's Michael?
Oh, I think you might be good. Okay, well, just let me know. Shoot up your hand if you have another question. Let's go to Huckleberry and then Theo. Huck, welcome to the mic.
Hey, thanks, Savvy. I've been listening, so if this has already been highlighted, I'm sorry to repeat it. But one of the biggest issues I'm having with a lot of what's going on, and what hopefully this is exposing, is we've learned that their defense was to file us away as meme traders, to devalue and decredit us as to what we could understand and interpret, and what we're finding
act like we were nothing.
This was anything but just your run-of-the-mill meme.
We're just a bunch of
well-educated, well-skilled, due diligenced traders that were involved in this.
Damn straight.
And through this, and through the research and investigation that we've done, we've learned about death spiral financing. We've learned about rehypothecation of shares. We've learned about the conflict of interest in these SROs, and that's the point where I'm having the biggest issue is in this conflict of interest with the self-regulatory organizations that are acting with immunity because they feel like nobody can touch them, nobody can get to them. We've seen issues recently.
We're coming for you, buddies.
Choosing arbitrators that would weigh in their cases falsely. We've seen issues with, the way that the SEC and Finra have handled, and SIFMA have handled FTX. But bigger, we start to see the issues that unfold with some of this and the lack of protection to investors and companies. That you've got companies that are producing medicine. You have companies that are producing new technology. You have emerging growth
sorts of bankrupt companies that were producing cancer-treating medicines.
Entry-level jobs that
hedge funds and shorts have done that throughout the last decades. Have ended research on cancer because they wanted to be greedy and take more and more money.
These are growth company jobs that would be innovation.
Everybody should be outraged by this.
Growth in America, North America, Canada, and worldwide.
We finally got them on the ropes, and if you guys give up on this at this point, shame on you.
Because of this feeder that currently exists.
Talking about everybody that has any knowledge of what's going on there right now with the shorts and hedge funds.
And then going and getting jobs at these
enough is enough.
And big banks and big brokers. They're not.
People have been dying for years because of this.
Supposed to be doing, and the people that are getting hurt are the investors, the workers, the companies that are just trying to bring new technology and innovations. In
Absolutely.
And so this is the problem that I think needs highlighting, and MMTLP will hopefully be a key to open that door. And the contagion isn't just going to be that we see it back up
to start
and GME and Mullen and some of these others that we know are heavily shorted. But the other contagion I hope to see is that some of these emerging growth companies have a chance to survive, and some of these economies that could greatly use some of these jobs.
If the SEC and Finra would do their job, they'd have a half a chance.
About the fact that the company is going to sign up for a convertible debt.
If you work for the SEC or Finra, you should be ashamed of yourself.
Get shorted off the face
You
of
know
the planet,
exactly what you're
and then
doing.
No jobs, no company, no technology, no medicine. So, sorry, I just had to put that out there.
You tell him, Huckleberry.
Well, and I'd like to add onto that, Huck, a great piece of visual work that really explains this entire situation before MMTLP, dating all the way back to 2006, is called The Wall Street Conspiracy. The Wall Street Conspiracy, this was a documentary put together by Christina Copeland, and we have formulated a relationship with her. She was kind enough to join us for a chat in this space with her partner, Mark. We also had Mr. Tobacco there as well. But Christina worked with
y'all got to do our
Burns,
thing. Don't let your vanity get involved here. The main thing is
and
the
but
goal.
I would encourage anyone
And the goal here
that wants
is to
to
get our 2 days of
understand
trading
kind
back.
of more of a historical perspective. That this, here we are,
more and more information is coming out that the SEC and Finra knew about what was going on.
Here we are,
we all know this. We all knew this from the beginning, but we know this even more based on the information that's recently come out.
There were hearings that were scheduled in
If you didn't catch my last video, I'm recommending that you go back and you watch the smoking gun videos over the weekend that Terry Yonkers has done.
A really fantastic explanation.
The Bird Lady Roller Pitcher did a good one.
Naked shorting, the way
Allie
over
at Trading Secrets did a good one.
I would encourage you to watch
Tony at Market Moves did, I feel like, the best explanation.
The second,
so go back and watch them videos.
And from our understanding, she will be
very important
the MMTLP story.
If you're involved in this investment or not, that you understand exactly what's going on here.
Let's go to Theo. Theo, welcome to the mic.
All right.
Hey, sorry, I was just
There's
here
the next
to
caller.
answer questions. Didn't put my hands up.
No worries. Chet, Theo is part of our DD team as well, and so if you have any questions, Theo can help out with that. Al from Boston is here. Al, I wanted to toss you the mic.
Yeah, where's Al?
I'm sure you've heard our news and seen our news, and you've been fighting for free and fair market.
He's renamed himself the idiot from Boston. Ha
to express yourself this evening.
Thank you so much. Just really quick.
There's 5,000 more followers to listen to.
When it comes to growth companies, that is exactly what they do. My friend Pedro, who's been a 30-year institutional investor, has brought up numerous times about companies that are early stages of fund, they're not proven cures to cancers, but childhood cancers and such, and these hedge funds come along and destroy them. And when you brought that up, that it brought back a rush of memories of hearing these stories and these hedge funds.
And if you didn't know those things were going on in hedge funds that were making billions of dollars for stopping cancer research and other research that could help save lives. If you didn't know that before and you do know that now, then maybe you should take some time to look a little bit more into this hashtag MMTLP play, because this is going to help open up the door. It's going to help open up the door to stop this stuff.
Well,
it's the beginning of something much larger and much bigger.
I want to talk to you about MMTLP fact patterns.
Let's listen a little more what Al has to say.
Going through a ton of research, created a very cohesive timeline. I've created a fact pattern. I have found regulatory discretions made by Finra, the SEC, and there's also a very good question if the CFTC was also heavily influenced through conversation between them and the SEC, especially in the options stuff. So I'm researching that right now. I will have a fact pattern developed, and I will democratize it through Busy, and you guys can do what you want with it. I won't be filing anything, of course, but it should be enough for you, the individual listener, or the MMTLP shareholder, to walk into a federal court, file it, and go from there. That's what I would advise you to do. I wouldn't tell you to do a class action just yet. I think those come much later. But the fact that when you have 50 states filing 50 different lawsuits, individuals actually doing it, that gets the attention of regulators.
I think I got him on YouTube.
Greater than the SEC and FINRA. That's the justice system at that point. And it gets the attention of the media. And of course the opposition force, which is the Republican Party, they're the op force in this whole thing. And once they see another small blemish on Joe Biden's record during his presidency, that will start to get traction, God willing. it gets to other news sources. But tremendous achievement on James O'Keefe. If he wants any of those fact patterns, just send them over to me. I'll send him a copy, or somebody else can forward that over to him. And that's all I have. Thanks so much, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Al. So I just wanted to mention it's not just about investors here in this country. We have a large contingency in Canada as well as over across the pond. And so it really is all over the world that this contagion is spread. But I want to go to hand. This is Daniel. Daniel, welcome to the mic.
Hi, guys. Yeah, just I know you're focused on Finra, but I think it's very important to focus on DTC's role in all this as well. Like at the end of the day, DTCC are meant to have complete oversight. They're meant to be the last protocol when it comes to clearing and settlement of financial assets. We also have a new technology coming on stream, blockchain technology. We have the potential with blockchain technology to make
DTC,
all this data that we're looking for.
I've been saying this in
be stored on
all my older
videos.
DTC,
even these emails, these regulatory emails,
DTCC,
we're entitled to FOIA requests.
SEC,
these were all stored on
they're all supposed to be there to protect us. None of them protect us.
Transparent.
On this play, and a dozen other plays we've been talking about throughout.
It brings into play game theory where if employees in Finra or the SEC or even DTCC, if they feel that these emails can hold these accountable, that there's possible what they're doing is wrong, then in the back of their minds they're thinking, I'm going to be found out because there's a clear link between the email I'm sent or the work I'm producing and it falling back on me. So I think from a policy point of view, I think if we can argue that the introduction of blockchain technology, which is coming, if it can be given back to the people,
what is this, a sales call?
Where we as citizens have constitutional and collective power to use the ledger and the integrity of the ledger for our benefit and not just for the benefit of the few, which is the system that's currently been operated at the minute. I think we have the potential with this lawsuit to highlight the potential for blockchain technology so that things like this don't happen again.
Awesome. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate that so much. Hey, Huck, one of the kind of facts of our situation that we didn't address is I'm sorry, I only know our nickname for him, but Cromwell. Sorry, guys, I couldn't remember his name, but I wanted to toss it back to Huck to see if he could share with the community what Mr. Cromwell tweeted and what he knew at the time. So, Huck, can you go into that for a minute?
I'm multitasking. You have to repeat yourself just briefly, and I will absolutely. Yeah. So the president of the OTC markets, as well as the vice president, gave the interview. I believe it was on the 7th or 8th before the halt. We just didn't have those as part of the situation, but I wanted to see if you could talk about Cromwell and the vice president as well. Yeah, so there's a couple of little factors in here. If you go back to when the corporate action came out on December 6th, when that corporate action came out and detailed the days for the trading through the 12th, no trading on the 13th, and the specific language at that time said that the shares were going to be canceled, Jeff Mendel, the vice president of the OTC, was on Trader TV Live and was speaking to the host or the anchor who was interviewing him. They brought up and spoke about Nextbridge hydrocarbons and the spin out, and in fact I attached this video to James O'Keefe's tweet thread. But Jeff Mendel was on TV the day before, so first corporate action, not second corporate action, and he said that the shares were being deleted. As soon as he said that those shares were being deleted, we watched short volume go crazy. It was shorted from
1.5 million followers.
Share, and it got shorted between that day and the next day, all the way down to $2.
Have you heard of the MMTLP scandal?
It finally ended at $2.89, I think. But the fact that Jeff Mendel was on TV using the verbiage that it would be deleted a day before the corporate action came out, it seemed like he was sending a message and someone heard it loud and clear. This share is going to be deleted. You're off the hook. It's game on. And so
they knew about it more than that. They were giving direct memos
that they would be opening short positions, going in to an event that should be closing positions. There should have been a
unless they had a heads up.
And there were
it's
new
so
positions
obvious.
being opened. Not new long positions, new short positions. And the only thing we can think to that point, we didn't understand the difference of canceled versus deleted at that time. We're still totally getting the full answer and scope on it. But then you go down the line, and I think the Cromwell...
I understood it. I knew the difference between
Cromwell
canceled and
meltdown,
deleted, but what does it matter?
So when
The bottom line was... that, yes, that was a signal to all the shorts to keep shorting for 2 days. But they got phone calls. They called each other.
And was able to put...
They got memos.
Yvonne
they got emails. Believe me, it's all going to come out.
In a specific meeting that just didn't make her look very favorable in the entire situation. When he
it's obvious that they knew that they weren't going to have to pay back, but they are going to have to pay back.
Meltdown for an entire day. And part of his meltdown... He said that, one, he recognized that there was open short positions, which was ludicrous. Two, he said that Nextbridge should just open this up for trading and make the whole thing go away, which again was ludicrous.
Right.
And three, he said that canceled and deleted are used interchangeably.
No, they're not.
My understanding is canceled is what happens with preferred shares. They go back to the issuer, whereas deleted means that the shares are deleted. That's a delisting event, not that's a bankruptcy liquidation event, not just your spin out or delisting to go private event.
And
so
every hedge fund in America would know that.
Deleted to what I'm understanding now. And anybody that was watching that TV broadcast and started opening short positions got the message loud and clear.
But they also got emails and phone calls, trust me. There's no way it went down that far just off of that one little comment.
So currently, folks, you don't have any hands up on the speaker stage.
Right.
If you are up in the stage and you're holding a mic...
I'm closing this out for the night. I gave you about 20, 25 minutes of Twitter. The Twitter chat call. This has been going on all day. And this all needs to come to an end soon. 115 some odd days now. This is ridiculous. Alright, my meta fam. Keep the faith.